Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for joining our press conference ahead of the FA Cup final. We have 40 minutes today, so we will do our best to get through all the questions. Those joining on the online feed, you can please use the raise hand function if you want to ask questions, but we will kick off in the room.
Hey Robert, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Hope you're enjoying the sunshine. I guess to start off, just any update on team news, anything changed from last week?
No, everybody trained today and everybody trained the whole training, so everybody's ready for Wembley.
Lovely. And looking ahead to Wembley, huge occasion, sold out stadium. First time for Tottenham Hot Spurs to get into Women's FA Cup final. What's the atmosphere been like amongst the group? Is there nerves or is excitement towards the final?
I think it's been a very, very good week. If you compare to the semi-final, I think there was a little bit more like tension that, we're going to almost be in Wembley. We should perhaps win this game because we're favourites against Leicester. This week, everybody's just training well, looking forward to this game. It feels like we're actually focusing, but still also actually enjoying it. And I think it's been a great week with training, and the players has been really sharp in training and in the meetings and everything. So I'm just enjoying the week and looking forward to Sunday.
Lovely. I guess in some way you'd expect Manchester United to be deemed favourites for this, considering the fact they've been to a cup final before. But I guess just looking back at your last fixture against them in the league, you managed to draw in the final couple of minutes. What can you expect from Manchester United coming into this game?
I mean, of course, I must say that they are a favourite team for this game because they have been in the top of the table for a while. On the other hand, you can also tell this year they are not top three anymore, which means that we played a good game against them and we saw that we can actually compete against them and almost win, right? So for me, yes, they are favourites. Yes, they were there last year, but we are taking steps all the time and we have beaten good teams this year. So we feel like we have everything to win in this game and that we have a good chance to win.
And for you, I spoke to you at the start of the season and we spoke about all the aspirations you had. Did you envision yourself going to Wembley this weekend when you signed the dotted line to come and manage here?
I mean, in one way, yeah, I've done it my whole life to reach to this point. So yes, in one way, but perhaps not this soon, the first year. But I'm very pleased with how we have developed, and I think the players have been brilliant in this cup round and how we're coming back in these games and make sure we are at Wembley. So I'm very happy with that, but I didn't expect the first year to be at Wembley. No.
Lovely, thank you and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll pass to Johnny.
Hi, Robert. I wanted to get your reflections on your run to this FA Cup final. You've gone behind early a lot, you've scored late goals a lot. So what kind of character has your side shown and how much of an asset is that ahead of the final?
I think you can see a strength in the character of the players, but it's also part of the environment we want to create. So one of the four key words in our environment is to be present and to handle setbacks. And if you look at those games when we come down 2-0 against Sheffield United, 1-0 Man City, 1-0 Leicester, I think it's 6 more games in the league where we have actually come back and got points in the games. It shows a character where you can actually stay present and keep focusing on what we're doing and turn the game around, not by luck, actually by playing good football and keeping to the plan. So I think that's what you can see in this squad. And that's why we do yoga, for example. That's why we work with our minds and bodies to make sure we can handle it. So it's a proof that it works in one way. Then, of course, you need to be good footballers and have good people on the bench who can use the energy they can come up with as well. So you show that we have a good strength in the squad as well. They can handle being on the bench and come in and improve the team, right? So it shows a lot of good stuff for us. And it also shows that we perhaps receive too easy goals sometimes, but we want to improve that, of course.
You've anticipated my next question there about the early goals. How are you planning to make a strong start against United and kind of keep things stable in the early stages?
Of course, we look at why we receive goals and why we receive early goals. And if it was a big problem that we are not working good or playing good in the beginnings, we will fix that. But we actually play quite good football. So it's more about some scenarios, some situations, how we can take better choices, how we can make sure we take perhaps more clever choices in the beginning of a game and so on. So we look into that. But on the other hand, we want to be an attacking team. We want to go forward directly in the game. So we're not going to change that. We're going to just be sure we are very sharp to make sure we develop that. So it's so much more difficult to play football when you're 1 goal down than 1 goal up, right? So of course we need to improve that, but we work every week on that. So I'm not afraid of that.
And on your players with FA Cup final experience, with experience winning the cup, what kind of insight have they been able to give your squad throughout this week and help them prepare?
But I started the first morning meeting this week to ask the players who's been in the final and won the final, what's your best advice for this group? And, they were they said the same stuff. to keep focusing in the same way we do it. Don't overthink anything. Just keep the process this week. Go into this game in a normal way. I think for the other players to hear that and understand that they have done these trips before, they spoke about how they've done the first game, second game, and so on. So I think that's helped the team to prepare and to focus on a good week with good training, because the game will come. No matter what you think of it, it will come, and you will, So I think they have been a good, help the other team to make sure that they can prepare in a good way.
Thank you and good luck.
Cheers.
Sam?
Hi there, Robert. I wanted to start asking you about Beth England. She's been pretty prolific recently. She's got 4 in 4. Just how good has she been recently, and what kind of leadership has she been able to bring to the group, having some experience, on the big stage?
Yeah, I mean, the goals is one thing, because we need goals, and I think she have scored a few games in a row now. And then if you look at how she's getting better and better to perform on the pitch and in different roles as well. So sometimes as a right wing, sometimes as a 9. And then, like you said, the leadership she can bring to this team to help people to make sure they stay present, to make sure they continue to do what we are supposed to do. Every time I speak to Bethany, she's present and she can listen to me and she can use what I'm saying on the pitch, and I can get her opinion because she doesn't lose her presence. So she's very important in that way. And she also, that's the reason she gives us some stuff in the games when we perhaps need it at the most, right? So very good. And then I think she can score even more goals though. So I know that she want to score on those chances she gets in other games, but now she creates the chances, and I think it's just a matter of time before she scored 2 or 3 goals in a game.
Doing your yoga, do you ever get involved yourself with the team, and how has that kind of relaxing pre-match preparation got your team ready for what will likely be quite an intense game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the first one participating in yoga, I can say that. I think I'm the one loving it the most. So if I don't have any meeting, I'm always participating, and I think when I was introduced to that a few years ago, it helped me in my way to stay calm, to make sure I can help the team to be calm. I was very aggressive when I was coaching before, and I kind of did substitutions when I get feelings and so on. And I think you should never take too many decisions on feelings. You should do it by being calm and use your brain as well. So it helped me a lot to make sure I can take the right choices and the right decisions. And I think it helps me when we do the substitutions during games. I don't panic too much. I'm trying to stay calm and reflect on what's happening and don't take the first that pops up in my head. I want to make sure I take the right choices. So it helps me a lot to be a good coach and a good leader.
And just lastly, Matilda Wimberg, she's really come into herself in the absence of, Grace Clinton at the weekend. How do you think she'll affect the game, and what do you think she can bring to your team in the final?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw her in Sweden, she was one of the top players, and with an X factor you don't really see so often. And when we signed her here, a lot of you asked her journey, what's the plan with her, and I knew it's going to take some time to move from her parents to come here and everything. So she started on the bench the first games and had a few minutes here and there, and then she grew into this, and she's trained so well and put on some muscles as well and make sure she can adapt to this league. And in the last 3-4 games, I think she's been one of the best players we have had. And it's also for her the next step will be how can she score more goals, create more points. But right now she's a big part of this team, and she's already now ahead of schedule, because I thought it was next year we're going to see the best of her, but she's already now is a top player in this league.
Thanks very much.
Okay. Beth?
Hi, Robert. How important is it for the team to maintain kind of focus and composure going into what is such a great achievement, but also a really high pressure situation? And also, what does having a new FA Cup winner packed out Wembley Stadium mean, do you think, for the progression of women's football as a whole?
I mean, I think we all in this big club, Tottenham Hot Spurs, want to be winning trophies and compete for these kind of games. So to get there, you need to be there and practice it in live. So now we actually get a good chance the first year to play a final instead of speaking about playing a final in the future. So now we get an experience. The players will learn how to do it. I'm learning how to coach at Wembley. Our staff members, our social media team, everybody's learning by doing right now. And I think that's a brilliant way to develop. And for us to be here is not only luck, it's actually because we have done some really good choices this year and last year when they started to do this renew of the women's team, right? So everything's a proof that we're doing good stuff. And we're already at the final, and hopefully we're going to win that trophy already this year. But it's also a good evidence that we're doing good stuff. And if you look at the final, a new winner, Tottenham or Man United, I think it's a good thing for this country to get more teams in the league to compete about the trophies, because you want to have a competitive league, especially in the women's football, because there's not so many leagues out there that have so many teams that can win a league or a trophy. And that's why most of the players out in Europe want to play in England and not other countries. And that's why the coaches want to come here instead of other countries. So it's a big thing. And I also think it's a big thing for the fan base and you guys as well, to make sure it comes, a full stadium. You're going to be at Wembley instead of a small stadium. And I think the whole atmosphere is what you deserve, what the players deserve, what the club deserves. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to questions on the online feed, starting with Emma.
Hi Robert, hope you're well. Obviously, cup final, everyone thinks about potential penalty shootout. Have you been practicing any extra this week, and do you know who your penalty shootout takers will be, or is that something that the players will decide themselves?
No, we prepare with practice discussions, so we know quite much who's wanna shoot, who's wanna perhaps shoot, how we're gonna do it, and so on. So we try to prepare as much as we can, and then you never know when you come to those situations anyway. But we're trying to prepare as much as we can, and we have done good this year, so we have good experience. So that's a good thing to bring to the final.
Thank you, all the best.
Cheers.
Thank you. Dan Kilpatrick.
We talk a lot about kind of catalysts and watershed moments in women's football. I mean, do you think just playing in the final can be an occasion to really accelerate the progress of Tottenham as a club?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have 12,000 Tottenham fans that bought tickets for this game, and you're obviously going to have a lot more people on this stadium who's going to watch this game. And I'm not sure if they're supporting any other team or Tottenham or whatever, but we're going to play in front of a full stadium and show them how good football we can play, how good the product is. And I think we can win a lot of more fans. And I think that's the main thing. We can speak a lot about hopefully get fans, but now we actually have a chance to play in front of a lot of fans and make sure we show them how good we are. You can tell today about all the media here. I mean, you write a lot of good stuff about women's football, and now when we're going to play at this big stage, you're also going to get what you need to grow your part of it. So yes, I think this is the momentum we need to use. This is the momentum we should use, because the girls deserve it.
And can you just talk about how important it is to have a style that is shared by teams across the club? So I know you're playing in a similar way to the men's team, and that's also being reflected, those principles, in the academy as well. Why is that important for a club like Tottenham to have those shared ideals?
Because we want to be one club. We want to have one fan base. We want to make sure that our fans see us as one club with two teams. So when they watch our teams playing, they can see the same identity and feel like they are part of those two teams, not only one team. Then it's a difference when men and women play football, but it should look the same in some scenarios, some principles and everything. And I think that's how you win your fans to support the both teams, because the women's team is so young. So the organic journey they have done with the fan base, of course, is not that big as the men's team. But I know there's a lot of fans from the men's side coming over to the women's side. And in the future, I hope we don't pick and choose from men and women's side. We have Tottenham fans who want to watch Tottenham play football. And that's why I think it's a good thing to have one identity, because then you feel like you can stand by these teams because they played a certain style.
Thanks, Robert. Good luck.
Cheers.
Emily.
Hi, Robert. Well, I just wondering how you're feeling. I mean, there's what, 3 days to change the club's history. Are you feeling any extra pressure on this game?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. You can feel something in your body that it's a big week, it's a fun week, but it's not any stress. It's not any, it's actually a very good feeling in your body, because I've been working pretty much 30 years to get to this stadium. So it's more like enjoying the ride here. And the feelings I get with that is, of course, a mixture of stress and happiness. And I think I love those feelings. So no, I'm more of looking forward to this game, and hopefully we will win it and get the trophies. And if we lose, I'm going to be very, very upset. But then I know if it goes a few weeks after that, I'm still going to be very proud of what we have done. So it's a very good feeling, actually.
You mentioned earlier about being present and the yoga you do. What benefits do you think that brings to the players and the team?
I mean, if you ask some of the players, they would probably say that it's boring, and they would say that it's, why do we do it? But I know that everybody is different, and everybody takes time to understand your bodies and your mindset and how you can work with it. And it doesn't really harm anyone to have some yoga. But I know that it works really good to make sure that they can get some relaxed time in the week, and also to make sure they can understand the more depth with their bodies, because everything is about self-confidence and how you can play your way under pressure. There's a lot of good footballers out there who cannot perform on the biggest stage, and they don't stay on that stage. And if you look at the players who can do it, those players are the one who can stay present, keep going even if they fail. Even if you miss one dribbling, you can do the next one and the next one. And then you can tell, I've seen Messi having bad self-confidence in some games, and then he looks poor, right? So everything is connected to how you can deal with your presence. So it's so important, and I know that yoga helps, and some of them loves it, some of them will learn to love it.
Finally, you also mentioned about having a competitive league. From a manager's perspective, how important is it to attract those top players to the league?
I think if you look at the other top leagues, when it's only 2 clubs that's basically are good, it's hard to bring more than a few players to those leagues, because nobody want to play in the rest of the teams, because you know that you cannot win, right? I think it was quite similar to this league a few years back. It was only top 3 teams basically, and then the rest of the clubs was not that professional and not too high salaries, so everybody went to City, Arsenal and Chelsea, and they had big squads with a lot of players. Now you can tell that some of the players in the top 3 clubs doesn't want to stay there if they don't play too much. They want to come to Tottenham or Liverpool or Man United, because they know that it's actually quite competitive teams there as well, with good environment. So if you look at it that way, you will have a big league with a lot of clubs who can compete about it, and the best players will actually be in England and not in France or Italy or Spain, I would guess. And if in the future we can add even more teams to the Women's Super League, we'll have even more players and even more competitive games. So I think that's the way to build a big stage for women's football, and for all the staff members around it as well.
Thanks, Robert. Good luck.
Cheers.
Sandra?
Hi, Robert. I hope you're well. A lot of your Tottenham players, Ashley Neville, been talking about just the journey that the team have been on, and actually being part of Tottenham teams that are performing in front of 20 or 30 people, being semi-professional, juggling jobs and playing football at the same time. And then past players like Jenny Salaci talking about the team training on council estates back in their very early time. Just how important is Tottenham being in this position, being in an Women's FA Cup final for the first time, in terms of, I guess, inspiring, other teams that are wanting to grow, but then also in terms of Tottenham's journey?
Yeah, I think that's the main thing here, that organic journey that this club with women's football have done. I mean, it's not so many years ago they played on those pitches and semi-professional, and it's quite cool that those players are actually still here and actually going to play at Wembley. It shows how much we have developed this team in a short time. It also shows the potential, how good we can be, because in these few years we have grown from this semi-professional club in the women's side to being one of the best run club in the world. And imagine if we can keep adding people around this and make sure we get the fan base and play at the big stadiums, then you know that the history is a big part of that, because you need to know your history before you can, have your vision. And I think it's quite cool to be a part of a club that have that history, that they've started from the ground, did this organic journey, and now they're actually going to play at Wembley. It makes you even more proud, and I think the fans will also feel that. Those fans I met last week who actually were at those games, you can see how happy they are, and that's those fans are really the main thing here, I would say.
That's great. Thanks very much, Robert. Good luck. Thank you.
Cheers.
Alex?
Hi Robert, I hope you're well. Just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on VAR, because obviously it's in operation this weekend. Have you had VAR at all in your career, and what do you think about that?
No, I never experienced it as a coach. We had them educating us this week, so we know a little bit more about actually how they look at it, how they use it. Of course, we have seen games on television and so on. Some of our players have used it in the World Cup also, but the main thing is it's coming everywhere, and I think, for me, it's like when I watch games, sometimes it's boring when they have it, because it, slows down the game and the tempo and the feelings. I love feelings. In one way, it makes the game more correct. So I think I need to explore it and experience it before I have my right feelings. But right now, it's I just need to adapt to the way that we're gonna use it on Sunday, and I'm not screaming too much if we score goals anyway, but let's see how we need to deal with it. But it's, I guess it's here for staying, and I just hope that we can improve it so we don't slow down the games and the feelings of the game, because that's the most important thing for me.
And last week, obviously, you took to Wembley. A few of the players have said, kind of helping them visualise the setting and like what it'd be like to play there. What were kind of your thoughts when you made the trip, and do you think it helps the players to visualise the setting?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We had a visualizing coach in the beginning of this year after Christmas as well, to work with how you can actually use your body to visualize different stories in the game or in your life and so on. So I think everything you're going to do live is easier if you have explored or visualized it before. So I think that trip was just to make sure everybody's seen it, been in the locker rooms. Then you don't know if that's the main thing, but that's one thing that's probably going to be a positive thing that we did, and everything you do that, you know, add on the plus is good. So we try to do as a lot of things we can to make sure they are as prepared as possible without overdo it, because we still need to work with football tactics, how we're going to press, how we're going to play. But a lot of it is how you feel and how you can handle the pressure. So yes, I think it's a good thing that we went there.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Thanks.
Dan Pentland.
Hey Robert, I hope you're well. Just off the back of that, really, obviously Man United were there in the final last year. They kind of learnt about what the cup final was about, learnt about obviously losing, and obviously they're taking a lot of thoughts away from that. So, do you think the fact that they've been there and experienced it previously, whether that will give them any kind of advantage?
I think it will give themselves an advantage to prepare themselves for the game. On the other hand, like I said, they have bad memories from that game. So in one way, it also perhaps reflects them in one way. So, for me, it's like, yes, they're going to be a little bit more prepared how it looks like, how it feels with fans in that stadium. On the other hand, we are dealing with big stadiums this year in a good way. We have played again in front of a lot of big stadiums, a lot of fans, and worked it out well. So I think it's you can choose to use it as a strength or a weakness. I just think it's something that is there, and I know that we're going to be prepared anyway.
And obviously, we've already mentioned about you giving United a real tough time of it, just a few weeks ago. Given, the fact that you're so close to getting a win in that game, do you think you're preparing for the same kind of Man United lineup this weekend, or do you think they might do something different?
I mean, you can tell that Mark is doing some changes sometimes with players and tactics as well. And, in the semi-final, they played in a certain way against Chelsea and with success. So I think we need to look at different scenarios, because I think he can absolutely try new stuff. On the other hand, we want to focus quite much on ourselves and how we're going to be even better. The first half against Man United away was good most of the time. The second half we were not actually good. When we became too low, we were not really brave on the ball and so on. So we need to look at how we can improve ourselves before we need to, guess what they're going to do. But of course, we know the scenarios they have done before, and then we also need to be prepared if they do something new. And that's why I mean about being present. We need to be sharp and communicate during the game so we can see what they are doing and make sure we have a good plan for it.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Robert. Best of luck for Sunday. Thank you.
Cheers.
Rachel?
Hi, Robert. I guess I just wanted to ask you, you said earlier in the season that you would rather your team won 3-2 than 1-0. How does that change for a final?
Doesn't change, actually. I want to entertain our fans. I'd rather win 5-4 than 1-0. The main thing is also their self-confidence. So if you score 5 goals, you get a lot of happy players who score goals, but you get a sad goalkeeper and some defenders that doesn't like to receive 4 goals. So you need to find a mixture. But we want to be an attacking team. But of course, in the final, everything is about winning. So if it doesn't look absolutely great, if you need to find ways to win this game because the cup ends after this game anyway, you need to go for that. So I think we did that against Leicester as well, a little bit like, okay, we need to be a little more straight. We need to play just as a 9 and find ways to win or get back in that game and so on. So the cup games need to be looked at in a different way. But, we still want to play our style. We still want to score a lot of goals. So hopefully we can do both.
Thank you. That's it for me.
Chris?
Hello, Robert. I just wanted to ask you about the coaching staff, in particular Vicky Jepson, how helpful she has been to you this year.
I mean, if I start with Vicky, she's been a huge, important role for me, because coming as a foreigner to this country and don't really know anything about the league, the stadiums, the opponents' coaches, how everything works, it's been a really nice time with Vicky, because she have helped me a lot. And also how she's, like, her experience and her skills connected to the game. So she's been great. And then, I mean, from Sweden, you basically have 4, 5, 6 staff members, and then you have quite tight, relation with them, and you can find ways to work with them. But when you move to Tottenham, you all of a sudden have 20 people, 25 people who work with the football, and then you need to learn how to trust the head of each department and how good they are to actually lead the rest of the staff members and so on. So when you look at Tottenham Hot Spurs women's team and their staff, I'm very, very impressed with how good people and how many people that collaborate in that way. And for me, I'm not sure about the other teams in the Women's Super League, but that's just brilliant for me to come here and just have this expertise in all areas and just let me basically sit at these press conferences and all of a sudden get all the glory. But I mean, it's all them that helps me to make sure we do it together. And I think, Andy Rogers have built a strong team with some of the staff members who's been in the men's side before, with the culture of this club, brought new stuff in as well. So for me, it's so easy to come to work every day, because you have all these people who want to develop and improve, and they want to do and come with new ideas and everything. So that's the main thing I would say. It's a lovely environment to work in.
But ahead of such a big game at Wembley Stadium, has there been any message from the board to you, or any interesting messages from key figures at the club that you could share with us?
Not really. Let me see now. It's been so much focusing on the training. We had some goalkeepers over in the morning to wish us good luck. So all the goalkeepers from the men's team were there, speaking a little bit and so on. So that was a nice gesture, I would say. But you know what? I have barely watched my telephone this week. I'm just focusing on the trainings and the environment there. So it's a few more days, then see how they want to reach out, or if they just let us be until the game is over. I'm not sure, but it's you can tell that the club is standing with us, because I can feel like we are, being treated in a very good way, and you can see that a lot of people are happy that we are there.
But last thing from me, do you have a message for the fans ahead of Sunday's game?
I'm just so happy that we're going to do this together. I'm just so happy that we hopefully get the trophy for the women's team for the first time together. And I just want to make sure that they come and they sing at the Wembley Stadium, and make sure we can have their energy, because semi-final, quarter-final is actually the fans who gave us the energy to make sure we came back in those games. So it's a massive thing if they can sing and cheer us up at Wembley as well.
Best of luck. Thank you.
Cheers.
Emily?
Hi, Robert. You've spoken a lot about your journey to the final and to Wembley, and there's been a lot of talk about you guys kind of being the underdogs, perhaps, in this game. But actually, you guys are the ones to beat teams like Manchester City and knock them out. So how significant is that for the players' confidence, and how much do you draw on that going into the game that you've knocked out a big club like that?
I think it started when we had a draw against Arsenal in the Conti Cup, and then after that we won against them in the North London Derby. We're starting to build trust in the group that we are already competing. If we nail everything we can with a good defense and actually using the chances we get. Then we had a few more games after Christmas where we actually had some good performances, and then we actually beat in Man City in the Cup, and then we had a draw against Man United. So it's not only one time or two times, it's actually 4 or 5 times where we competed with the top 4 teams. And that means that the players are now just actually understanding that we can compete and beat Man United. So it's not a question anymore. We know that we can do that, and we actually know that we have a good chance to win on Sunday. So, and you can see that, you can feel that actually. Everybody's actually going for the win. We're not just happy to be there. You can tell that we have a good chance to beat Man United, but we have enormous respect for them because they were there last year. They are a great team, but it's a final. It's going to be a tough game.
Thank you. Good luck.
Cheers.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.